Why Abu Dhabi?
Well, I've been working in Abu Dhabi now for 5 years. We decided that given the experience we've had in putting mixed-use projects together all over the U.S.
Like here in New York,
Like
right?
here in New York.
Yeah.
We've done it in Boston. We've done it in Washington, D.C. We've done it all over the country. But 5 years ago, we made our first trip outside the U.S. to see if we wanted to do some international business. Things had slowed down in the U.S. We had some very talented people. We looked in China, and I took the Middle East as an assignment. My first trip I actually made with Marvin Traub, who passed away a few years ago, the former chairman of Bloomingdale's, who represents the Al Tayer family in Abu Dhabi and the UAE. You may know that the retailing world in the UAE is not operated directly by the retailers. It's operated through family offices who actually own and operate these stores under license agreements.
Oh, really? Okay.
So to make these deals in the Middle East, you really have to get close to and understand the families that operate. We picked the #1 family who do the most extraordinary job there, and we're actually bringing not just Macy's, we've made a Bloomingdale's deal as well. It's the second Bloomingdale's.
It'll be their second.
It'll be their second store and the first Macy's store outside the U.S. We opened our first phase of this retail project a year ago. It's called the Galleria. We have every luxury brand you could name, the top 50 brands in the world, a Rosewood Hotel, a Four Seasons Hotel under construction.
Okay, but let me just stop you there. But don't a lot of them, the rich families in these oil-rich countries, don't they come here to go shopping? I mean, I hear like that there's a Christmas in the summertime when they come to New York, they come to L.A., then they go to Paris. Why do they need to shop there?
They certainly do, but you know, the interesting thing is, just like I'm sure you do, they travel extensively, probably 4 times a year on average, and they'll go to Europe and America, and they go for extended periods. But they want to shop more than 4 times a year. So the convenience factor of being able to see these international brands so close at home means they can shop regularly, which they do.
Yeah. Hey, Ken, I'm going to, first of all, I have the utmost respect for your company. Other than your CEO's Miami Dolphins being a Patriots fan, I'm all in.
He had a good game this weekend, by the way.
I'm a 32-year season ticket holder to the Patriots.
Well, that's a good number, 32, by the way. Well, I'm going to just ask you a question, because you guys have done amazing things around the globe. How do you take in consideration something like oil being down 20% or the geopolitical risk in the Middle East when you know you're going to be in the Middle East and it's there for the long run? But how do you think about short-term versus long-term, and does it change your investment strategy?
The nature of our projects are long-term destination placemaking, and it's long-term real estate. And everything we do is we try to be best in class. So it's how you put the mix of retailing together, it's who you put in there, and the architecture and the planning and the execution of these projects is unequaled. Right. I mean, there's no one who matches what we do in those categories. So you know you're building for the long haul. And from a competitive point of view, all of the people who live in the UAE, I mean, almost like 90%, most are educated in the U.S. They've traveled all over the world.
Right.
They appreciate this Western-oriented execution that we do.
And they love brand names.
And they love brand names.
So is that area of the world, though, a good benchmark at all, or a good gauge of how international consumers are behaving vis-a-vis the U.S.?
You know, there's an article today in the paper, the New York Times, that talks about the Emirates and Etihad Airlines, and they're proliferating now in the U.S., coming to the U.S.
Right.
Abu Dhabi and Dubai, between Emirates and Etihad Airlines, the 2 largest orders for private aircraft in airline history. The 2 airports, Abu Dhabi is building a $7 billion airport. Kohn Pedersen Fox, our architect at Hudson Yards, is doing the airport. Between Abu Dhabi and Dubai, you're talking about, within a 4-hour flight time, 2.5 billion people live 4 hours away. And so it becomes really a mecca for 3- and 4-day trips, weekends, special shopping trips. And it's the safest place in the world in that part of the world.